Hey everybody, welcome to the show, Speaking of Schmoedown, a sports talk show devoted to the movie Frenchie Schmoedown. I am Jay Wade. Once again, as we always do, you're our numbers guy, our stats guy, bringing us those sexy numbers. And I do like double D sexy numbers. You can kind of play with that on a couple different levels. Dan Dolinsky, how you doing, bud?
Dude, I'm happy to be here the day after my birthday. I got this as my birthday present, so I'm happy to be here. Yeah, I'm happy to be here talking about Schmoedown with you guys.
Awesome. And we are happy to have Dustin back on. How you doing, bud?
Thanks for having me, boys. I realize now that I'm on here with Taco with a nickname, and there's already a double D. I need to definitely come up with a nickname for next time, so I don't take double D's.
Triple D.
Triple D. There you go. It's gonna stick this so I'm not a double D it anymore. So
well, why wouldn't it be quadruple D? Quad
or
D?
Square D.
D squared.
Quad D. I like quad D.
Quad D. All right.
Yeah.
Next time I'll be prepared.
Quad D in the house, everybody. Also, of course, you can see Taco. What's up, Taco?
What's up, Jay? This is my second show of the day. My wife's out of town, and I'm doing 4 podcasts in one day. I know you normal people do that a lot, but I'm a dad, and I never have the chance to do that. So I'm pumped. This is my first drink. I just opened it just because I'm having a show with Jay Wade, so I figured I need to open a drink.
Yeah, and I figured out Taco's daughter's name a couple weeks ago. Her name is Taco Bella. So,
Yep.
Taco Bella, this episode is dedicated. Thank you for going out for the day so your dad can be on. Thank you.
We were going to go with Taco Wet, but turns out her best friend already named her down to that. So.
Oh, man, that's great. Okay, guys, we don't have a guest today. We're going to do a shorter show, and we're just going to talk about the matches rather than play hot matches. But we started off the week with the Outsiders versus the Press Room. This was a good match. I'll tell you what, if you would have told me this match was going to happen before the last match that both of them played, I would have said Outsiders would have this, just because I don't know anything about Josh before we saw him really start to play. And obviously we know Perry's good, but we're not sure exactly how good she would. She did very well last year, beating Kalinowski. That was a hell of a win. But I don't know. But after seeing the Press Room play last time, I was not surprised by the outcome of this one. What did you guys think?
Yeah, definitely. Well, last week I was tough decision, but I think I went with the Press Room because Josh has just been so good this season, especially on his own in singles. I mean, he's been knocking it out of the park. So seeing him go perfect in round 1, that was like, yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, Perry did okay, but she was only just down by a couple of points. So even though it wasn't her best, she was only down a couple of points, and Outsiders didn't go perfect anyway. So it was enough to them keep up with them.
Oh.
Yeah, I just agree with everything you said. Even though she missed 4 questions in round 1, their round 2 was new releases, and I put it on her that they did as good as they did in round 2. So she might have been why they were down going into round 2, but she's also why they were up going into round 3. So you just can't fault her at all. I think it was a heck of a match, and I think Horowitz is going places, like, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. I think Horowitz is great, but I would have still went Outsiders going in. Paul and Ben need wins, and they can't seem to get it. And I was all about it. I'm like, this has to happen, because now, honestly, I watch this match, and I'm like, Ben at the end saying, what is he, 0-4, Paul's 0-4, or whatever. It's just like, man, what do we do with these 2 gentlemen? Because, we're getting into tournament season, and you assume you're not seeing it again until the tournament. What if they both get knocked out round 1? That's why I really want. I was like going in, but again, I agree with everybody. It's hard to bet against Horowitz right now because he's playing awesome, and I think he's got it. So, yeah, it's tough.
It was tough, and I like you. I wanted to see Paul end up and win 1 match, and I think I said that last week. But I mean, it was very tough for me to decide, even back last week. So, but yeah, I definitely want to see Paul have at least one win. And Ben, I mean, I just rewatched a match with the Pride, and he was so strong then. I mean, it was like, wow, he's really coming out strong. So I want to see him win one too. So I hope they can bounce back from this because, yeah, teams is not looking good for them.
Yeah, and speaking of the Pride, I mean, now that we've seen the Outsiders play 2 matches, how do we feel about the decision to split up Ben and Rachel? Because I mean, at first I was concerned about it, and my main reason had nothing to do with Paul Preston or anything, but just Ben and Rachel did so damn well last season. It kind of shocked me, to be honest. I didn't understand why you would split them up. But do we think that was maybe a mistake, and not in a bad way? I mean, everyone, makes bad calls. But do we think that was a bad pairing, or do we need a little bit more time here?
Yeah, I brought this up when they first played, and I thought it was like maybe too soon. But yeah, I think maybe it's time to go back to what worked last season with Rachel Silvestrini and maybe Rachel Silvestrini and Paul Preston, because it seemed like they were actually doing by themselves. They were doing pretty good, and I know Rachel is a very strong competitor as well. So why not maybe switch it up a little bit? Maybe switch out the other Pride member.
Hindsight's 2020, and if you go back in time with the knowledge now, sure, you can make that decision, not split them up. But maybe not J-Wade, but everybody else is thinking that's your team. We don't have the future. We couldn't see the future. We thought Paul is on bad luck, but he's a great player, and Ben's a great player. Like, throw them together. No one knew that I don't know. It's a movie guy curse or something, and it stinks so much. But I think we were talking yesterday of like there's some weird dark cloud over Paul Preston and Adam Witt, and they're bringing it everywhere they go, and it's so sad because they're probably the 2 best people on the Schmoedown, and we're all tired of seeing them lose. And I completely agree. I wish they won.
That comment is exactly what I was going to say, and I kind of agree with Jay here. When you watched Ben and Rachel, it felt like there was chemistry, right? Like you felt it. You felt something about that team. I had that thought when I was watching this match. I had it before too. It doesn't feel like Ben and Paul have it. It feels like they're the 2 A players on the team. They were drafted to be the 2 that carry it, right? So, all right, well, because they are that, we have to put them together because we need to try to rack up wins in a faction that was already probably going into the season in the bottom half, and it's not working. So, I'm sure they would say otherwise. But what I see on screen is I don't see chemistry. I see 2 guys just going out there trying to team up and try to win a couple matches.
2 good singles players.
Right, 2 good singles. Thank you. But then you look at Perry and Horowitz. There's chemistry there, even if Perry's not the A+ player here. But if your chemistry's good enough, again with Rachel, with Ben was good enough and Rachel was good enough to help Ben get there. And if you have the chemistry, I think it works in this. So I don't know. I agree with you, Taco. It does feel like 2 good singles players just trying to win.
Very fair. Very fair. Let's go on to our next match here this week. We had Brother Loomis coming back to play his second match, also playing Beth May in her second match. Now, we talked about this before when Brother Loomis made his debut. And it wasn't a knock on him, but we were kind of trying to get used to the character work and wondering if or how much the character work affected the performance. What do we think this second go round? Because I could tell, in my opinion, as far as Lomas is concerned, is it Lomas or Loomis?
It's Lomas now. Didn't it start Loomis?
I've heard both. I don't know.
Well, I have a confession to make. There is a Lomas with 2 O's in Chicago. So every time I hear Loomis, I want to say Lomas or Loomis. I want to say Loomis instead of Lomas. So I think it is Lomas with like low, like going low.
Yeah,
just call him brother, and we're fine.
Yeah, exactly.
So my thoughts on Brother's performance here is that he definitely toned down on the character work a little bit. He didn't like, do away with it, obviously, but
he didn't drop character though. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And he's got a better balance now of the character and the gameplay. It was nice, man. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely, because I felt like he was just going all out the first match. This one was a little bit more hold back, and it felt right. It felt right, and I was enjoying it throughout the whole match, and I didn't feel like he was overdoing it. So I agree with you 100%, like 100%, Jake.
Yeah, and the other thing I felt like is, if I imagine myself as a rookie in the Schmoedown, right? If I come in and I'm studying kind of, and I lose my first match, knowing that because have a good character or something that I'm going to at least get one more. My first thought would be I can't lose this next one, right? Like I have to go in and actually try to study these things. It sure felt that way with him, right? Like I'm not saying he wasn't studying and he wasn't there in that first match. But now that he had that, huge break or whatever, it felt like you could tell he hit some books. He realized what he needed to do, and he's like, I can still, like what you guys said, I can still do this character thing, but I need to win a match, or else,
Well, to be honest, his last match, he was up against Frankie Alvarez.
Yeah,
I would say he was a strong player then. He just had a bad third round.
Right.
And of course, he didn't have a third round this season because he got a TKO, but it still felt strong in both matches.
I got a lot to say about his character, and I'm going to try to keep it brief. But honestly, I finally got it. I didn't get it right away. I was like, all right, he's doing like some weird priest thing. Okay, whatever. No. I'm scared of him now. Like, he's not just doing a priest character. He's like this fire and brimstone is like bringing this like old school horror, almost like culty thing that I think is awesome. I'm now thinking him more as a villain of this evil priest, and I feel like the character's working a lot more. And it's exactly what you said. He dialed it back, but he didn't shut it off. And that right there is why I think he is firing on all cylinders right now. He played a really good match trivia-wise. He stayed in his character. He made me laugh. He made me scared. He's doing something that a lot of people cannot do in this league right now. And I'm loving it. I want more brother. I do. Even though he terrifies me as a kid who grew up like atheist, and I'm kind of afraid of priests anyways, he's really terrifying me, and it's good. I put him in the singles tournament. I want to see this guy more, and if this win doesn't prove it, that he's got chops.
Well, and what a better manager for his character, though, too, is to use that concept of like Gucci being his almighty power.
Yeah.
It couldn't work with any other manager but Gucci, right? Like it's
Gucci's hype man now.
Yeah. Like even on the back of his board, it still was like towards Gucci. Like that's so awesome.
The power of Gucci.
Any other manager wouldn't have worked.
No,
so good.
And I'll say this: surviving 12 years of Catholic school, he's just another guy to me because I've seen. I got to ask Frankie numbers because me and him went to the same high school. There was something that was like I forget what it was called, but it felt cultish, and I would ask like my friends in high school, like, "Oh, what's it all about?" It's like, "Come join us, come join us." I'm like, "No thanks, no thanks." I gotta ask Frank when he's on here later this month because I don't remember what it was, but that's how it was in high school. It's like, "Come join us, come and experience it for yourself." I'm like, "No thanks, not buying."
Good.
Man, I would love to start a big masturbation cult, like not like a sex cult where everyone has sex with each other, but like it's just a masturbation cult, and like you can only do yourself, stuff like that.
Yeah, thank you, Lou. You made Lou blush. You know how difficult that is. Do you know what that guy normally is into?
I was just gonna say he's probably already in the call too.
I can feel my nip clips now. Anyway,
this is my first drink. I'm not ready for this, Jay. Get me a little more tipsy before you take advantage of me on live on the air.
Oh man. Lomas kind of reminds me a little bit of Quentin Tarantino's character in Little Nicky. How he's like got that brim, and he's running around and yeah.
If Loomis had to end his nigh sign towards the end of the season, that would be amazing. If he has like an end his near sign towards the end, Oh, the season's gonna end in fire. I love
I
it.
didn't realize that was Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
You never made that connection?
No, well, number one, the first time I saw that movie, I didn't know who Quentin Tarantino was. And it's been such a long time since I saw Little Nicky, and I obviously now know who he is now. But I never just made that connection until this right moment.
Hey, that's amazing. His cameos are so weird, like, because he can do whatever he wants, so he just chooses the weirdest cameos.
Yep. We have one more. Let's talk about this final match that dropped yesterday before the pay-per-view event went down. Jader Paramo bringing another victory to the Den against Eric Zipper from Swag Drip Drip. Man, my Jay Wade's two favorite factions, Den and Swag being his second favorite. This was a hard match for me to watch. I wanted both of them to win, but of course, in true competition, there are no fucking ties. Give me a break. How the fuck do you end something in a tie? That's stupid. So stupid. But Jader, man, he had a great win here over Zipper. I don't know. Let's go around the horn here. Let's start with Taco. Let's go counterclockwise.
There you go. Fight against the norm, man. Anarchy,
baby. I saw Rage Against the Machine with Wu-Tang Clan. I was at the show. I saw Method Man get arrested on stage for inciting a riot in which a kid was trampled to death. I was at that.
That's amazing. I have tickets to Rage Against the Machine that were supposed to happen, and then COVID made it not happen. It's Run the Jewels opening for him, but I have an old school Rage Against the Machine shirt that has mine and my friend's blood on it from a punk mosh pit, and I found it it barely fits me anymore, but I'm still gonna wear it to that show. Anyways, Fight the Power. But what I was getting at was Hurricane was down 2 points leaving round one. It wasn't a sure thing. Like, as much as it ended so strong, he fought for that victory. It was 8-6 Zipper up, and then when they went in the round two, then Zipper had a really rough round two with Action Adventure and Hurricane. Didn't get the steal, but he had a pretty good round two. But yeah, it was a well fought match, and I didn't want to see any of these guys lose. As much as I don't love Zipper. There's a lot of really big Zipper fans. Zipper's just good. He's fine. But I'm a huge Hurricane fan. And Jader, I love Jader. I heard his story, and I feel like I have a weird dad connection with him. It's just I love Jader, and I'm just glad he got this win. And yeah, that's all.
Well, and being who we are, shouldn't we all love Jader? We're all the fans that wish we got picked out of the crowd, and now he's 3-2, and he's playing actually good Schmoedown. You know, I think that's what we're feeling too.
But I would say that he would probably need, if he's going to try to advance up into the higher leagues, he's got to have more perfect, or at least start to get more points in round one, just a little bit, because had Zipper miss his bonus question, we're tied, and we're going to that third question for Jader. So we'll see. That would have been the towing cost and going into overtime if you missed it.
Yeah, 100% agree. And no one listening will know, but everyone on screen and behind screen will know. Perfect. Excellent. I love you guys. Now, guys, it is time for...
I'm going to talk dirty to you for a second. Math.
Double D's, sexy numbers. What do we got this week, man?
Okay, so one of our fans sent me something over on Twitter. It was Dagan who sent me a couple weeks ago. He wanted to know how often competitors miss the bonus question, because he started seeing a pattern in singles over the course of the month or in June, that we're seeing more and more people miss that bonus question. He expected that it was kind of expected that you would, if you get to the bonus question, you automatically got that bonus question. So let's first define what I mean by bonus, because generally speaking, there's two different definitions. Bonus going perfect in round one could mean getting the questions in round one and getting the bonus question. It's also referred to as just getting that first 8 or 10 questions in the round one. So first, let's just define what it means first for this presentation. So we're only counting that first round one initial. So for singles, it's 8 questions. IG, it's 10. Star Wars, it's 10. And teams, it's 8 per person. So that could also mean, that could mean 16, that could mean 15, 14, whatever. But it's 8 questions per competitor. Now, unfortunately, I don't have a complete data set. So for teams, because it's pretty easy to figure out who's got bonus question right and who got perfect round one with singles, Star Wars, and IG. Teams is a bit different. So I only have data from 2020 to now. So before we go on, Dustin, what do you think are going to be the results across the whole divisions? Do you think who do you think has the most misses? What do you think the results will be?
I would say for most misses, you would think it would have to be singles, right? I guess if I had to pick one. Maybe, again, maybe that is recency bias because, like you just said, I totally agree with Dagan, who came up with this question. Is it has been a little weird, right? That we felt these bonuses aren't as automatic as they felt like last season, right? So I guess that's where I would choose.
Yeah, I initially thought that too because I did check my numbers. There's been 6 matches where just there's just a few numbers that were increased from last year. So let's see what the final data shows. If I can just get my mouse to work. So for singles, now again, the blue represents the total number of rounds, not the total number of matches. So you would have to divide this by the number of rounds by 2. That's how many matches are. So for 96, that would be 48 matches, just to kind of give you a clarity. So the numbers that we're going to go with are the purple and the light green, and basically it's the light green divided by the magenta number. So the magenta is the total number of perfect rounds. The green is 8 points or missing the bonus question. That's basically how it is. So in 2017, there was 7 perfect rounds, and 4 of those were 8 points in singles. That's 57% rate. For 2018, there were 6 perfect rounds and 1 miss, which will result in 17 rate. With 2019, there was 21 perfect rounds and 6 that were just 8 points. That's 29% rate. 2020, we're seeing an increase in perfect rounds and 36, and only 3 misses. So that's 8% rate. And currently, we have 31 perfect rounds as of right now, and 7 misses, and that's 23%. So again, yes, we're seeing an increase, but that's because we're seeing more people getting perfect rounds. And as you can see that we are starting to climb up with total rounds overall in singles. So that's why it may appear to seem like we're getting more frequency, but that's because we're seeing more matches in the singles division. So it's like, so to kind of sum this up, let's say you have 1,000 people who are blonde hair, and 10% of 1,000 people, you look at taking a pool of 1,000 people, 10% have blonde hair. That's 100 people basically. But if you increase that for like 100,000, suddenly you have 1,000 people who have blonde hair, but it's the same percentage. So just to kind of sum that up. So for teams, again, this is only for 2020 and 2021. We're noticing a 16% rate for misses, 5 misses, and 32 that were perfect. And currently we're at 6% with 1 miss out of 18 perfect rounds. For IG, now suddenly this is actually going to be a lot smaller because there are very few matches in IG in comparison to all the other divisions. Compared to singles and teams, sorry. So for 2017, there was a 67% rate. Now that's a little bit off because we've only had 5 matches total, I think. But So when you have that low of a pool, suddenly the rate is going to increase a lot, even if it is just a small amount. 0% in 2018, 0% in 2019, only 11% in 2020. We only have one miss out of 8 perfect rounds. And again, currently in this season, we have only one miss out of 7, which is a 14% rate. So Star Wars, now obviously we expect Star Wars to be perfect 100% of the time, but it's not perfect 100% of the time. Again, 2017, we had 4 perfect one-round matches. There was 0% in 2017. We had 2 perfect rounds in 2018, but 0 misses. We've only had 1 miss in 2019 out of 6 perfect rounds, so that's 17% rate. 2020 last year, there's only been 1 miss. That's a 10% rate, and currently we only have 1%. We have 0% rate. So everyone has been perfect so far. Well, everyone who's gone perfect has made that bonus. So Dustin, what are your thoughts on this overall graphs? Did it kind of surprise you a little bit?
Yeah, it's interesting when you always put it out, right? So like it's kind of now I just have like the questions of it. You do have that thought again. There's a reason why this question was asked. It's because we've seen 2 or 3 of the misses in the last month, right? Which obviously, according to your graphs, is not what happens usually. And now you almost wonder. Before that, why is it always that people usually, according to the percentages, especially in the last couple of years, get the bonus, especially in teams and such? So you almost wonder, is it just based on the player because of the player that goes 8 for 8 and gets the bonus is because they're A players or top tier players in singles and teams, or is it because usually if you get 8 right, you're rolling, right? You're on a good streak. You're going for it. You need to get this last one because the bonus point now is so important. And I think it shows in teams matches especially because you either get the bonus point because in order to stay tied with the person you're playing against, or the other person didn't get it and it just gives you 1 extra point to go into round 2 with, right? So you almost wonder if it's in the last couple of years too, especially it's because just the bonus point is just so crazy important now to get that grade.
Yeah, and I originally thought that maybe it's because of PJ Campbell and his writing staff. They're making they're not taking it lightly. They're making that difficult for people who are going perfect.
Right.
But the data seems to show that it's the normal rate, and it's because that when you have more matches or more rounds, that percentage is going to increase as well.
Right.
But if you make it, but Star Wars, it's going to be difficult with that because we're getting Star Wars level experts, not just movie experts, Star Wars experts who really are the only ones to compete. So that's kind of why only 1 miss per year is happening, is because they're just that good. But I don't want to rule out that PJ Campbell is taking it lightly. I think there is something to it, but I also think that there's a debate whether or not you are on a roll in what you're saying.
Yeah, very cool. And I always love it when doing this just because it's great to see it actually instead of just talk about it.
And we have Roxy Stryer back on the phone. Roxy, what do you think of my sexy numbers?
You had the sexiest numbers by far.
By far.
That's true.
By far. And as Frenchie put up there, some breaking news, man. While Dan was doing his segment there, I went over to Twitter. Hold on, let me make sure I've got this right here. Trending under entertainment, Sam Elliott. People choose between iconic actors Tom Selleck and Sam Elliott, and I just want to say right now, we're going to squash this, everybody, because only one of those 2 guys killed Hitler and then the Bigfoot, and it was Sam Elliott. So put that to rest right now. Now, everybody, it is time for Frenchie's Corner. Get out here, buddy.
That was your breaking news?
Yeah, man. I don't think there's any debate. I can't even believe it's trending. It was a question at all, dude. Tom Selleck's cool and everything, but Sam Elliott's the man, dude. He killed Hitler and then the Bigfoot. What? Andy was breaking people's faces in Roadhouse. Roadhouse. You know, dude, Sam Elliott.
It's not my kind of jam. So right now, nah. All right.
Movies though, at least it wasn't about like some puppy falling into the bear pit at the zoo or something, you know.
So, oh God. All right.
Fun to talk about though. Go ahead.
Yeah. So that being said, let's go on to Frenchie's Corners topic. We're going to do something different. We are actually bringing you both our versions of what we would plan out a live event. And our guest co-hosts are going to choose which one they want to attend. Now, we're going to start with you, Jay Wade. Your first match, your introduction match. Where does it take place, and what is your first match?
Okay, first of all, it takes place in the new American hotspot. It's hopping, it's popping, all the action's going on down in Austin, Texas, baby, which is close to Houston, Texas, which is where I was raised. I was not born there, but I was raised there for the first part of my life. So we're going to Austin, Texas, where likely Joe Rogan will be out there, and maybe we could get him to commentate on the desk. Not really. But I'm going to take us to Austin, dude. It is a hopping place now. It's doing pretty good. So I think it'd be fun. Plus Texans, man, they're rowdy. I grew up there. I should know. Okay, so my first match, dude, to start things off, we've got a Star Wars #1 contender match between Saul and Alex Damon. Now, do you care to know who the current title holder is in my world, or does that?
Sure,
Thomas Harper is who that #1 contender winner would play.
Okay.
For my second match, I've got a singles title match between Griffey Newman and Adam Collins. Let's see if last year's Rookie of the Year can take on who knows who will be Rookie of the Year, but Griffey's a damn fine rookie. And in my third match, everybody, this is the big dog one right here. That sounded like a pussy dog, but this is the big dog one here. Okay, a 3-way teams title match between Deception, Final Exam, and Danger Zone to close out the event. That is my dream world pay-per-view event that I would put on.
All right. Well, look, interesting. Yeah, you definitely brought something. It's not like just normal matches, or it might feel like it's not going to be special. It's definitely special. But mine, I created with special in mind as well. First special thing, we finally bring Schmoedown, I should say, for first time to Canada, do it in Toronto. Look, man, it's time to expand. The flights to Canada are going to be cheaper because we're neighbors and we're just reopening. So it's going to be possible to fly more people. It's also going to be time and the chance for people like me and the Northern Schmoes to finally attend a live event. And there's enough people. Last time the poll was around 200. Before it wasn't good. Right now, they need to get shit started. So I think it's enough people now to support the have it in Toronto. My first match, and I was tempted, by the way, to say, let's go all Canadian but you know what? No, that doesn't make sure that you have a good show. So I wanted just to set up the best matches possible. First one is the battle of the super rookies. We got Horowitz versus Newman. For me, they are true newbies that are rising stars and really seem like they're destroying anything in their path. Now, I really think that Horowitz and Newman is the best match. I like Newman and Collins, but no one's asking for that, right? No one's asking for that specific match, especially Collins is, there's something going on. Maybe we're not quite sure. He's not the Collins of last year. We want fireworks. And for me, those two are already displaying fireworks. You put them together, you got a hell of a show. The second one, I want to bring back the Iron match. I want to see pure knowledge, dedication, focus. And for me, two people that demonstrate the most in the most different ways, the same quality, is Ace versus Gold Leader. Having them as a Iron Man match would be spectacular. We haven't seen one in a long time, and they're both beloved people for different reasons. And my last one, Chandru is the champion. Chandru found a way, sneaked back this way to the top. he will defend his belt against Mara for Chandru versus Mara number 2. So those are my live events. Any comments before we start going to our co-hosts?
Yes. First of all, I cannot complain or speak against any of those matches that you set up. Great matches. The only thing I can argue against is the location, and the number one reason is because it would take me a lot of hassle, a lot of paperwork, and probably about 4 or 5 hours to successfully enter Canada, and I just really don't want that hassle, and I want to.
But here's the thing, Jay Wade. This is not about you. This is not about servicing you. This is about servicing the Canadian fans. It's about time we get a live event.
See, that's why we're not gonna try to convince each other which is better, and we'll have the others. But I do have to say that for me personally, I would like to go to this event, but Canada doesn't like me. Your immigration system,
Oh, you know,
really difficult for me for the rest of my life, unfortunately.
And before we pass it on to our co-host, if there's one match you would like to see from what I chose, which match would you? And I'll do the same for you.
Cool. No, I'm sorry. Go say that again. I was reading what Dustin was saying.
Fucking gay. So out of my 3 matches, choose one you would actually like to see live.
I would like to see Chandru versus Mara too live. That would be really, really cool. I love both of them. I've said it before. I love how Chandru does his character work and his heel work. I love the character of the heel. And Mara's emotion after she won that belt, it got me, dude. Hook, line, and sinker. So yeah,
the storyline has written for itself, right? It's just gonna happen. But for me, on yours, definitely the 3-way team match. That is interesting. Logistically, probably a fucking nightmare, especially live.
Though, if it's live, I don't think it would be an issue.
But, again, like free for all, the video is so large that you kind of lose sometimes, right? It's okay because they're not necessarily in teams, but you got like also the Comic-Con Star Wars live event where there's multiple people. It's hard, so it might be a way, but it's harder. All right, so enough about us. Let's go to our beautiful people in the background to choose a winner.
Okay, so this is tough. I mean, if I had to choose between one or the other, this would be a 49-51 split, but the 51% is going to Frenchie. I definitely number one is I definitely want to see Canada because I want to go to a new country. I mean, not that I don't love America, but I want to see a new country. I've been stuck in the same country for a while. I want to see something new other than my own backyard, basically. But yeah, Horowitz and Newman, I definitely love seeing an Ironman match. And of course, Chandru versus Mara. I mean, yeah, I would love to see that match live. But if I had to choose one match from Jay's, I'll definitely choose the triple threat teams match because that is just a whole tier of talent on stage that I would love to see fight it out. But again, it would be logistically very, very difficult to happen. But if it was able to happen, I would choose that. But again, I'm going with Frenchie as the one for me.
Yeah, I think I'm close. Sorry, Taco. I know. I'll give you the floor at the end. I think Frenchie's opening 2 matches are solid, but Jay's main event is where it gets you. I think it would be fun to see Chandru in a live setting because I feel like there would be legit people mad at him. Like, real boos. Like, people really don't want him to win, which would be really fun. But to be there to see, like, the first triple threat tag match, you almost can't let it go. And I'm 100% telling you, I don't know if I want to sit through 30 minutes of Star Wars questions either. But I agree. I do want to go to Canada to watch a Schmoedown. But if I could go to Canada, if only Jay could have put it in Canada, I'd have given him the win. But I think I'm going to give the 51% to Jay. Saul and Alex Damon's fun. I do think he also has the weakest match, though, with Griffey and Collins, because I'm not sure if people see that as a thing yet.
Taco, you're the deciding vote. Who wins?
I hate it. I hate agreeing with both of these guys, but I know it always makes me uncomfortable when I agree with Frenchie. But Also, it gives me a chance to meet the Schmoes of North. I never met them, right? I see them like this all the time, but I just want to give all of them a hug except for Frenchie. And I would love to do that. And also, I want to throw a little spin on one of them, right? So we're getting Chandru Mara 2, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Whoever wins it, Mara, I want to see Oyama use this card and walk up on stage and challenge the winner right there on stage. I want to see that so much. I want to see somebody use their titles challenge from the free for all live, of course they know backstage, but like nobody sees it coming.
Wait,
I want that so bad.
Is Frenchie going to win this because you just created your own fantasy?
Yeah. I made it better, but I'm giving him the credit.
That's the best way to win ever.
All right, so that has been decided. I won, but Taco kind of won himself because he just created his own thing. So I kind of won. But,
I built off it.
Jay,
All right,
if you would have changed it to another city, maybe I would have voted for you.
I did think about that, but another selfish thing for me is I've got friends who live down in Houston, and so it would be cool to. I love Texas. I would never live there again. It's too fucking hot. But I love the state. I love the atmosphere. The women are skittle-eyes, and I've got friends down there, so it would be really cool to be able to see some friends and shit like that, and just to be in Austin. And like I said, maybe I'll hit up some comedy clubs. Maybe I'll see Joe Rogan. Maybe Dave Chappelle will be there doing a set with him, dude. Who knows? That's been happening here lately down in the great city of Austin. But yeah, right. I'll say I've been to the United States. I've been to Canada. I've been to the Netherlands, and I've been to Mexico, and I've been to the Cayman Islands, which is some sort of British colony or province or something. I don't know.
Hiding your money away?
No, I was far too young to have money to put away. I was like a teenager.
Sure.
All right, boys. So.
I almost did place mine in Montreal hoping that Frenchie would change his mind and go with me, but I didn't.
All right, so this is the end of Frenchie's Corner. Again, thank you for apparently making me the winner tackle. So until next time, and bye-bye.
I can't complain with anything there.
I tried, Jay. I tried.
Hey, man, all's good, man. Frenchie had a great lineup, and you all made solid points, dude. That's cool with me.
Like I said, it was 51-49 with me, so it maybe a little bit. Maybe if you had another competitor, I would have said, okay, then you got the 51. But hey,
I distinctly noticed that no one wanted it set in Fargo, North Dakota, which it's a little messed up.
Yeah,
but
Minnesota. What are you guys doing? Come on, come north without crossing the border.
I work in Minnesota. Just live in North Dakota.
Okay.
Cheaper.
We got let's see, pay-per-view. Okay, dude, I'm just gonna say it, and I'm not gonna get this. I'm not gonna, this is not big enough for me to need to make a hard question, and I'm not gonna flip out like I did the other week. But I will say that seriously, when no one questioned whether or not the JTE, like when Ethan said JTE, it was clear to me that he wasn't asking Liz if they should use one. He said JTE, and then Mark prompted it by saying, that he didn't confirm it, so they weren't going to take it. They weren't going to charge him. However, there is no precedent has been set. Like, I don't ever recall them being like, do you confirm that? Because when you say a JTE, you're down at the end of your time. It's like a lifeline. You're like, JTE, like, repeat. And Mark set a precedent that has never been there before. In my opinion, Erwin and Liz should have been charged a JTE there and read them the question and the answer, and then they answer the question. Like I said, I'm not going to blow up about it.
Yeah, just to clarify, is this the one where they said whatever the answer was and they just went with it, or as the final answer without confirming
I don't
it?
even think they got that far in it too. That was the other part about it. They were talking about the GTE, and then didn't Liz say the right answer? And but Ethan just didn't want to run out of time, so he said JTE, and then they just never did anything, and the time ran out. And Mark just took Liz's answer. That was very weird. I agree. Mark has done it before, where he hears JTE and just says, "Sorry, you said it," and he repeats the question.
I also want to say this right now because I don't have a whole lot to say about this. I have a lot of feelings on it, but I don't, like I said, I don't want to get myself worked up like I did before. But I mean this with all possible respect and no personal shots toward Mark Ellis whatsoever. But based on the years of me watching him as an official, I sometimes wonder how much he really cares about the outcomes and about being an official and doing it the proper way. He just, to me, he comes off a lot to be like, okay, like that kind of attitude, rather than like, no, the rules state this and this is, and you said this. And that, to me, if you're doing a competition, especially if it's a sport, it should be like that. It should be officiated in a consistent way, rules enforced, all of that stuff. But it just seems to me like he does more like friends in a living room on game night, where it's like, it's okay, man. We'll give you the point. It's cool.
I think it's a little bit more than that, because if it's friends in the living room, you wouldn't have that commanding presence of actually speaking to the camera and having a little bit more like how he would be at a comedy club, like he's actually leading the charge. But I do agree with you but just because there's not a precedent doesn't mean that, when there's no precedent, what do? You have to make a decision and move on with the next match and maybe review it back later. I think that's what ultimately will happen as we go down as we end the season, that they'll review it and then they'll make another rule for it, because when there's no precedent for it, you don't know what to do. So sometimes you do have to just move along and make your best guess. And again, no disrespect to Mark Ellis, I think he's great, but it's like, what do you do with this situation? You just make the best possible outcome.
It did also look to me real quick, and then I'll let you guys talk. Sorry, that when that happened, I kind of got the feeling based on Guy's look that he was maybe like, wait a minute, are you really not going to charge them at JTE? I mean, I could be completely wrong, but I got that feeling that thought was going through Guy's head based on the look on his face. Like, even he was like, wait a minute, he said JTE. Why are we not charging?
I will say, I listened to the Action Guys a week or two ago, and Guy was very open that I think if you give him till next season, he might become that person where, like, he is the one that will make the rule and speak up and say, this is how it is. Sorry. But he's admitted he's too new and won't say anything. I mean, he said it blatantly in like a couple of the times that, they've dealt with stuff, that he right now doesn't feel comfortable saying anything against what Mark chooses. But I think give him a little bit more time. I could see, the way Guy talks about it, I think Guy's ready to enforce the rules exactly how they should be enforced. I mean, he's ready. He just hasn't got there yet.
Yeah, I think he's actually better at the desk than he is as a competitor, because he has that flair. So I know with Christian's positions, like, what do? Do you not put him in a match but have this talent at your disposal? What do you do with him? Well, let's put him on the desk and maybe ease Mark Ellis out, and then maybe have him and Christian work out the team. I think that'll be a better fit.
I don't want this to be a thing, Jay. You terrify me, and I don't like disagreeing with you, because I know you know where I live, and I've never told you where I live, and it terrifies me. But anyways, I think that Ellis takes it extremely serious. There's reasons why he won't be part of any storyline, because he doesn't want to separate that. I think it's just a hard job, and if he did this once a month, sure, hey, get your stuff together. But he does it so much for years, and he's gonna make mistakes. And yes, it's our job to notice them. What you did is completely right. But questioning that he's not taking it 100% serious, that bugs me. Yeah, he is. Yeah. He made a mistake here and there. The dude's a professional, and everyone makes a mistake. I make mistakes at my job, and I've been doing it for 9 years.
I shouldn't have maybe said it that way. I guess what I'm thinking in
it
my
bugged me.
is the comparison of in a like an umpire or a football official, a referee enforcing rules, and then just like more lax atmosphere, like your buddies sitting in your living room, where you're more inclined to have a benefit of the doubt rule, where you're like, okay, dude, I mean, we know who you were talking, that kind of stuff. I think he is more in that mindset than he is in a sports or competition mindset.
And a stand-up comedian,
with that, Jay, because I think he does that.
Hold on, I'm sorry. We got a special guest who wanted to come on and talk about the pay-per-views.
Hey guys. How are you doing?
We're talking about the pay-per-view event. We've already had a go round on our says. Go ahead, floor's yours. Catch up here. What do you got to say? I know you wanted.
Yes. That's what happens when you tweet out when you're a little tipsy that you want to come talk about the pay-per-views. You get invited everywhere. But first of all, thank you so much for, letting me come on. But I just absolutely love these pay-per-views. It was exactly what I wanted to see from a pay-per-view match. And both matches were just like fantastic. So just overall in general, it was everything I wanted.
Oh yeah. What did you think of the first match? The
Deception and Lightning Time.
Yeah, Deception versus Lightning Time.
I really liked Lightning Time. You can tell they just are such a great team and they trusted each other so much. And I know, we were talking about last night a little bit, but Adam getting a little bit of flack for that round 2 question. But I think it just goes to show how much of a team player Marisol is. She trusts in her teammate, and she even said, I wouldn't change anything. I still want him as my teammate. All of that. So it kind of goes to show what a team that they are and that they really trust in each other. Now, got the answer wrong, but still, always
one question and an opponent's choice. I mean, come on.
Yes.
You can't give them too much flack when they did one perfect. They got 10 points in an opponent's choice, and you're complaining about one wrong. Get out of here.
Exactly.
I was sitting there thinking, and I did know that beyond the Saucer Park crashes, and then in another one, a Generations movie, the Saucer Park crashes, those are the only 2 I was aware of. But I was thinking, I didn't have a clue which one it was, to be honest, because I don't do planet names. But I was like, man, Beyond would be a little bit too obvious because it's the newer one. So I was thinking it was an older one, but I don't know what the name of it was.
I knew it because my girlfriend's a Star Trek fan, and me too. But I remember Viridian 3. I'm like, that sounds like Generations, and because I know I forgot Beyond. I just don't remember it, but I just remember, Riker crashes on Viridian 3. I'm like, that sounds exactly like Generations. So I'm like, that definitely sounds. So I was like confident 100%. So when Adam went, I think it's Beyond. I think he's like, no, try
Go back.
Like 10 points in the opponent's choice. You can't beat that.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys covered it already, but man, Lightning Time's round 2 was just stressing me out like no other. They were getting answers in at the at the wire. It felt like for at least like 3 questions.
We were just discussing that.
Yeah, but you can't maybe crash the party for that, so it's all good. The only thing I think about this, I to sum it up, the deception stuff that Nancy just said is exactly right. Is how much better can Ethan play and nobody pay attention to how good he plays all the time? Like, he's up for a #1 contender shot against Dan. Nobody really seems to say or talk about it, or it's no buzz because it's Ethan. But Ethan, isn't he like the second best singles record behind Dan? The guy's like 15 or 16 and 6 or something. We all get that Dan's like, and then his team's record's really good if you take out the one, Andrew Guy team match, which was odd. But I think that every time the way Ethan is answering questions, especially in the second round, and when it comes to 5-pointers, yes, Liz has done a great job too. But Ethan's a scary dude. And I think it's because he's so lackadaisical and he's not really in the bubble that we don't really get on it. But yeah, when I was watching that match, it really, Liz is great, but for some other reason, man, Ethan's steamrolling. And like somebody said, he's studying a little bit now. So, yeah, it's interesting to see it.
Oh, yeah. And I'm going to call a quick audible here. We got 5 minutes left. We're going to dispense with the our plugs and all that this week. Nancy just joined us. And also, I just realized we didn't say anything about the Rushmore versus Final Exam match.
Yes.
So very quickly, we'll sound my horn here, and we'll have our quick say on what we thought about this match. We will start with Nancy. Why don't you give us your thoughts on that match?
Yeah, again, another fantastic match. The only thing I would say is it was interesting to me to see Oyama and Lon play a little bit in that round 2. It just seemed like maybe either Oyama didn't have full trust in Lon, or if there was any kind of inkling of, I'm not quite sure of the answer, then he wanted to get repeats or multiples in. Now, maybe that's a good strategy. Maybe it's not, but they were really good. And Lon was playing amazing. I know everyone was giving him crap after his last match, but I was so happy to see Lon play so well. So yeah, that was great. And of course, Rushmore was playing great as well. So,
Dustin.
Yeah, no, it's great. Yeah, I agree. I think we all sit there when Final Exam plays, right? And like that first round, you're just, if Lon gets 7-8 points, you're like, here we go, they're rolling. But then Lon does what he does once in a while, and then you're like, oh, this is it. But when they're rolling, I felt after the first round, Final Exam couldn't lose. I really got right behind it. I'm like, when they play this well, I don't think they can lose. I went in expecting Rushmore to win. I thought JT was playing so well, and I think JT and John just make the league fun. I'm not saying everybody else doesn't, but when Roca and JT are on cards and in pay-per-views, it's good for the league because they're entertaining guys. But Final Exam played awesome, and again, when they're rolling, I'd be afraid of it. And that's why I'm assuming Final Exam and Lightning Time play after this. Correct? I'm assuming that's the point. If not, that'll be two teams that are rolling if they are.
Oh yeah, and Taco. Hey Taco.
Sorry, you've been so quiet.
Taco.
Yeah.
Make your comments on this as short as it could be from the time
We're
eat
popped.
a
We're
taco
popped.
and it shoots out my ass.
Just start with me.
5 minutes.
I love it. Wait until your turn. Oh, can you speed your turn up, please? Yeah, sure. I was gonna say I think they both got they got double Dewberry in round 1, which was amazing. I'll say it quick. I just have to say, when Final Exam's on, I think this is my recency bias. I think this is my favorite match of the year. I honestly do. And I'll tell you why. Because my head thought Rushmore, my heart wanted Final Exam, and when heart beats over head, I get extremely happy. When I'm like, oh, there's no way they're going to beat him, but I want them to, and then they do. It was amazing. And also, Lon getting that 5-pointer, that Mickey Rourke question was hard. It was a hard 5-point, at least for me. That's all I got to say, Jay Wade. Sorry if I take up too much of your time, but I just... Also, I don't know who this guy in your chat is named Jcast Network. They're saying that Final Exam... I don't know who they are, but they should just stay out of the chat.
Yeah. That's a guy who has you on his channel on another. Yeah, so you might want to watch that. So I just like you, Taco. That's why I like picking on you, man. Dan, what are your thoughts on that?
I'll just say this real quick. Final Exam has the highest 3-round teams match points ever at 39. Fin Stock Exchange has the second highest, and 37 is the third highest. That's all I will say. I like this.
Check this out, guys. I don't have much at all to say. We're not going to do plugs because we're going to end this show exactly at 1 hour. So this is going to be awesome, totally sweet. The only thing I'm going to say, it was a great match. Nancy was right. I was wrong. I was a little bit too hasty on saying that they should trade Von Ericks and put them up. Everyone, this was a great episode, a shorter one, but we'll be back next week. And until then, everyone have a great, great, great safe week. You want to hear something funny? The mic wasn't on that whole time.
No way.
Yeah, for real.
Oh, wow. so